Okay, so first for the bubble sort, let's understand the coding part. Then I will explain it how that is the working of that code. Okay, through the programmer's website which I recommended earlier. Okay, in the searching video. Now let's do it. So as you could see, I have already taken the elements, I've taken the size of the array, and I have taken the elements from the user. Now I have to sort it. So sorting is very simple to remember. So I'm just showing how to remember it, because at the end moment when you don't remember the concept, it's quite easier to remember the code straight away sometimes. Okay, not always. So I have defined J also because we will be using nested loops. Okay, so just remember, you run the first loop from 0 to the whole size of the array. So size of the array is n up to I plus plus, and then we run the loop from J. The inner loop you run from 0 again, so you start from 0 but you end at n minus 1. Now this will go up to J plus plus. Now next what I will do is that I will say if, now this is for ascending order. I say if m of j is greater than m of j plus 1, then you do the swapping. Now if you remember what swapping looked like, so I will just comment here. Mhm. Wait a sec. Okay, so now I will just create a comment here. So swapping. So just remind you how swapping worked. So in swapping, you took three variables: int a, comma b, comma c. This is not a program I'm working. This will come under comments. Okay, just comment this whole part out. I'm just writing this code under comments. Okay. So there were you remember you need to swap the values of a and b. So what did you do? You saved the value of a in C. Then you said a is equal to b, and then you say b is equal to C, where C stored the original value of A, because the value of A was being overwritten in this part. Okay, so similarly here we will have a variable called temp, because we need to swap positions between m of j and j plus 1. Okay, so what we'll do, we'll say m of j is E, so we will say, suppose consider m of j as A here and m of j plus 1 as B here. Okay, so we will say temp, which we have defined here, is equal to m of j, then m of j is equal to m of j plus 1, and m of j plus 1 is equal to temp. Okay, now let's print the array. So up till this part your sorting has been done. So sorting consists of three steps. So first, loop from 0 to n. Inside that loop, loop from 0 to n minus 1. Then according to the condition, you need to swap. Okay, you see this, all three these lines are inside this condition. Okay, now next I will just print the array. So I will just say for printing we will use single loop only, because it's normal array printing. Printf percentage d. Sorry for the weird cuts there. Percentage d, I will say m of uh, I. Okay, so I made one more mistake, as you can see here, that initially I defined this array as ARR. Now I will say it m, because I have really forget what I named my variables earlier. Okay, so I will say it m. So my array I have taken in a variable called m, not ARR. Okay, so that will not make any difference. Now set run. So we'll enter the number of elements as 5. Now let's randomly give them arrays. Now 9, 8, 7, 5, 2. As you could see, the array is sorted. Let's format it properly. Run. 5, 7, 8, 9, 2, 0. Okay, so that's working like a charm. Now for descending order, all you need to do is to change this sign. Okay, this is for ascending order. Ascending order. Okay, so now let's move to the theory part. So bubble sort. So I just told you the way to remember it. Okay, so for descending order, what you will do, just change the sign. So repeat after me. The steps are loop from 0 to n, loop from 0 to n minus 1, write the condition that m of j is greater than j plus 1. This is for ascending order. Just remember for ascending order, and just remember for descending order, just you need to reverse this sign. No changes in this part. Okay. Now all you need to do is swapping. Swapping, you need a third variable. In this third variable, you store the value of mj in order to save it, because in this step it will be overridden by the value of j plus 1, and in j plus 1 you store the saved value of m of j. So both of them are swapped. Finally come out of all the loops and if statements and print the array. Okay, it's as simple as that. Okay, now let me tell you the logic behind it. So bubble sort, what does it do? Bubble sort compares the two adjacent elements, means the one neighboring ones. Okay, suppose as you could see here, minus 2 is being compared with 45. So in the first step we are, so m of j will be minus 2 and this is 45. So both of them are being compared. So does this condition satisfy if we are doing in ascending order? So m of j is minus 2 and m of j plus 1 is 45. So m of j is definitely not greater than 45. So they are not being swapped. But in the second step, as you could see, as m of j moves further, so m of j will become 45 and j plus 1 will become 0. So this will get swapped and then we will move further. Okay, now this goes on, and after this you get this array in one iteration. So it still needs to get swapped. As you could see, minus 9 should have been in the first position, and other like that. In other examples, many more elements would be there. So it's observed that you need to repeat this step which we just performed here from I is equal to 0 to 3 the n number of times. Suppose the array size of the array is n, so that's why in this step we are performing that swapping and we are repeating it n number of times. So just bubble sort, you remember that we compare it with the adjacent element. Suppose uh, m of j is an element, if m of j plus 1 is the adjacent element, m of j plus 1 is the adjacent element. So if the element we are currently holding is greater than j plus 1, then technically according to ascending order it should have been placed after the element j, m of j plus 1. That's why we are replacing them. Okay, so I hope that was clear. And we repeat these steps how many times? N number of times, like the n number of size of the array. N is the size of the array, so that all iterations are done and all the elements are swapped. As you could see here, if we do it only one time, still it needs sorting. Like you see, minus 9 is here, minus 9 should be brought here. Okay, so that's how it works. That's bubble sort. In bubble sort, you just remember you compare it with the adjacent elements for the size number of times of the array. Means that suppose the size of the array is n, you compare it with n number of times. Okay, how to remember it? Loop from 0 to n, loop from 0 to n minus 1, and ascending order. For this ascending order, m of j is greater than j plus 1, and for descending order, m of j is less than j plus 1. Okay. Now the logic is simple. If m of j is greater than m of j plus 1, then technically according to ascending order it should be placed, the number bigger should be placed afterwards, and m of j is smaller than m of j plus 1 is smaller than m of j, so it should be placed first. So we are bringing it in the position of m of j, and we are putting m of j in the position of j plus 1. That's why we are swapping. Okay, that's all for the code part. Now let's quickly write the pseudo code for it. Say pseudo code.txt. Okay, so first let's define size of the array which we have in the program. We said size of as represented as n. Okay, So here we just say size of the array, and we don't say def because that's a command of Python. So we say define. Okay. Here also say define array, and we say not just array, define numeric array. We can use square brackets and represent its size of array. Okay. Then we will skip the input part and we say for, now we will say we will loop for I from 0 to size of array, and then we say begin I loop, because we have more than one loops, that's why I am not just writing begin. And then we say for j from 0 to size of array -1. Begin j loop. Inside it, we will check recording. If m of j is greater than m of j plus 1, and we say temp is equal to, you don't need to define temp, m of j is m of j, and then just remember the swapping techniques. M of j is less than temp, is equal to m of j plus 1, what I'm saying. You don't need to use the semicolons in pseudocode. Then m of j plus 1 is equal to temp, and then I will end if, or you could say here I should write begin. Okay, and I mean here I will say big end j loop. I will here say end I loop. Okay, there you go. So that's the pseudocode explanation and the code file for bubble sort. Okay, now we will be moving to insertion sort and selection sort in the upcoming videos. Thank you.